Welcome to One Insight. My name is Litvin. I grew up in London and I now live in LA. And this is a podcast for extraordinary top performers and their coaches. You see, I've coached some of the most successful and talented people on the planet. I can see what most people cannot see, and I dare to say what most people wouldn't dare to say. And what I know about success is that on the other side of it, it can be incredibly lonely. You can feel more of an imposter the more successful you become. And when you're the most interesting person in the room, you're actually in the wrong room. Clients who are more successful, more intelligent, and wealthier than you need your support more than they know and more than you can imagine. I coach around insight. Life looks one way, something happens, and the world looks different, and your entire world changes. It can happen in an instant. And this podcast is called One Insight because a single insight can change everything. Oh, this was fascinating. In today's episode, you're going to hear me coaching Angela. So Angela used to work for the United Nations, for UNESCO, and she's based in Paris. She's a woman who's done extraordinary things in her life. She runs 180-kilometer races, ultra marathons, almost 120 miles. She doesn't like to do things by halves. Even when she's taking on a mission, she can't just take on one. She's got to take on a number at the same time. And I coach her around her next big mission. It was really fun. Enjoy. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Rich.
Hey. Well, thanks for saying yes to being coached by me. But a couple of seconds ago when we were having a chat before we began, you said, I don't know what I want to be coached on today.
That's true. I don't.
And I like to play that way. Sometimes it's cool when you have an amazing answer in your head, or you've got a problem that wants to be solved, or you've got a big challenge something you want to accomplish. But it's okay to show up to a coaching session not knowing. Well, let me ask you this. What's on your mind right now?
What's on my mind right now? What's on my mind right now is how I can accomplish my big dreams. There are big projects that I want to put out into the world next year. And it's, what mind shifts I need to have, what mindset shifts I need to have so that those can be birthed into the world. And I have
Sounds like there's multiple. You're talking in plurals here, right?
I always talk in plurals.
Tell me more. Tell me about these big dreams, plural.
Well, I seem to never have it. I always have several things going at once. Next year's my 50th birthday. And I have an idea for a really, it's not a part, as it is a party, but it's a give back to all of the people who've participated over a long number of years, different people in my life, and it's a thank you. With that, I'm planning to run an ultra marathon across the Pyrenees. And I haven't done a really, really big race for a long time. And in fact, I've been...
How long is an ultra marathon?
An ultra marathon's anything over a marathon, like anything over a bit over 42 kilometers. But the one I want to do, I think, is about 170. And I haven't done anything that long in a long number of years. Last year I did... kilometers,
which is what, 120 miles?
I think I'm not good at miles. You would know that better than me, but yeah, probably. Yeah, I think it's something like that.
It's big.
And it's in the mountains. So there's a quite a bit of vertical climb.
So what I get about you already, because my sister-in-law just did the New York Marathon. That was 26 miles and was exhausting. You're someone who doesn't play by halves, and you play big in the world.
I have a bit of inner critic around that because I'm surrounded by sportswomen who really hit the podiums. So they play big. They do this and they're on the podium. But yeah, it's for me, it's big. For me, it's big. Let's put it that way. It's something where it's I don't know how many thousand meters elevation, and I'm 50 and I've got 3 kids and I'm running it, and that's it. So yeah, but there's some training to do for it.
I love that you surround yourself with people who play big. So whatever you're up to doesn't seem so big. That's why I created 4PC. Actually, we surround ourselves with people up to something really extraordinary. It means whatever we're out in the world, everyone's in awe of what we do. In here,
It's like, oh my God, I thought I was doing something impressive, but look who's up here. And that's a fun community. So I can see why you surround yourself with people like that. That's cool.
And they do. They we say in French, tirer vers le haut. They elevate you. You know, like it's like if they're doing that, I want to do that. So, and I love it. Yeah. So there's that. And then there's the project with the Grow Hope Foundation, taking some of my clients to work with the Girls Have a Voice program with the Grow Hope Foundation in Tusubira village in Africa, in Uganda. So that's 3 big things, plus raising my children. And so there's some great stuff going on next year.
So let me tell you a story about a friend of mine. Her name's Cynthia Kersey. And when Cynthia was 50 years old, she had a birthday party. But she said to all of her friends, you know what? Don't bring me a gift. Like, I've got everything I need. What else do I need? Donate some money to this cause that I think is important. And it was for girls' education in Africa. And they raised, I forget how much they raised. It was $50,000 or something. It seems like a big amount, but it wasn't, people, it was 100 people came to the party. It wasn't huge. They all gave, but it blew her mind. Like, in one party, we could raise this amount of money. And so what Cynthia did is changed her life radically after that party. She created what's called the Unstoppable Foundation. Do you know Cynthia? Have you heard of her?
I haven't, but I'm going to go and have a look into it when we get off here.
So Cynthia created the Unstoppable Foundation. And ever since, they have created an organization that changes the lives of kids in Africa, because they build schools. And now they don't just build schools, they work in an entire village, so that rather than just only the schools, they help empower women to take on roles and become entrepreneurs. They bring clean water to the villages. They transform entire communities. I'm proud that through my community, we've helped raise the money to build 4 schools in Kenya through the Unstoppable Foundation. That story is amazing. And it started with the insight that at a 50th birthday party, I could raise enough money to change people's lives forever. And Cynthia hasn't stopped. This company, this nonprofit has raised millions to change kids' lives.
I might have to go and have a talk to her, because one of the things for my 40th birthday, I did not quite the same thing, but I said to everybody, it's the same. And it's still the same now. I don't need more stuff. However well-intentioned and kind and lovely it is, I don't need more stuff. So what can we do to make the world better? So when I was 40, I got my friends to get behind me and say, I want to go and set up a project in India. And for different reasons, the project didn't go ahead, but I did go to India and pitch it, and it was accepted. And so I promised myself that for my 50th, it would happen. And here we are. That many years later. So I will be going to have another look at what Cynthia's done as well as some inspiration.
Yeah, just Google Unstoppable Foundation. She's written a book called Unstoppable. She's a fascinating woman and hasn't stopped.
So and why should we? There's no reason to, right?
Yeah, well, I can tell you're someone who doesn't stop, right?
It's a bit like the ultra marathon. You keep going and going and going. Yeah. And that's what life to me is about, is to keep going and another mountain to climb, but not in the sense of it being a hard slog, even though it is an effort, but it's about once you get to one peak, there's another peak and another peak.
That's interesting. A friend of mine, a friend of a friend, trains people to climb mountains. And on the final day of the training, he takes them to this really high peak, and they get to the top to discover it's not the highest peak. There's another 2 beyond that. And he watches their eyes, because the people who go, oh God, and the people who, like you, go, oh wow, those are his people he'll keep working with.
And that's it, right? That's where I've taken some of my clients in the Pyrenees. I live in France. And it was something super simple. We're going up here, and now look at everywhere you can go and the other higher peaks. And there's more behind that. And there's a whole world of that to discover. So yeah, that's lifted. It's not that I was feeling down, but I was feeling overwhelmed with all of that. I never have one project. And I was saying to myself, why can't I have one project? And I don't do well with one project, but I try and fit myself into one project, and they all have parallels. So,
well, I tend to be the guy who helps people focus, really focus, and then amazing stuff happens. But I say tend because I spend time working with individuals, not with some theory. And it sounds like having one project actually constrains you and sucks the life out of you. And having a number of projects on the go fills you with energy and makes your eyes light up.
Yeah. Also, I think because they're similar. They're not, I mean, there's climbing mountains on one side, having a huge event on another, and taking women to Africa to help empower other women. To me, there's something very similar. It's all about empowerment. It's about giving back. And it's about, even with my 50th party, it's about creating the impossible and going for your, reaching your limits and seeing just how much further you can go past them, and then what will the new limits will be. And nice. So when I concentrate on one, I sort of like get itchy. I need to have another one at the same time.
That's great. I love it. I help people create impossible things on a regular basis. It sounds like it's just who you are.
Yeah. There's part of me that really wants to believe that. And then there's part of me that says that what I've done for now isn't that impossible, and that anyone could do it. And like anybody could do.
It's part of the trick, right? Is that it's only impossible up here. And I'm pointing at my head right now. It's only impossible up here. Most of the things that, did you read about the Kenyan guy who just broke the 2 hour barrier for running a marathon?
Oh, yes.
And we know the story of Roger Bannister for the 4-minute mile. It was amazing that he broke the 4-minute mile barrier, but it was how many people did it after he did that shows us so many of the barriers are up here. It's why I say everyone I meet is only 6 inches away from everything they want in life, because those 6 inches are the distance between their ears, right? And that's the game that we play in coaching.
So maybe I need a bigger goal, and I don't know what that is, but these ones feel achievable and well, it's not that they don't feel unachievable. They feel achievable now. They didn't feel achievable last year, funnily enough, particularly going to Uganda, but they feel it's been in my mind, but they feel achievable now. And I've got this curiosity to think, what do I completely think is unachievable? And I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So,
well, let's go in a different direction. What would you love to have accomplished in 25 years? Because 25 years takes off all the pressure. But you can really dream big if it's 25 years.
I would like to see 50% women leaders in the world. That's what I would like to help the world accomplish. And at the same time, I used to work for UNESCO. So saving the world through women's and girls' empowerment and education is something that I've been working in since I was in my early 20s. Yeah. And, what I would love to, okay, so there we go. There's something I feel is a limit. I'd love to see 100% of girls at school, young girls at school and into college years. And that seems unachievable, and yet something that I would love to have a hand in. Now, I don't know how much I can have a hand in it, but as much as I can, and link all these people, Cynthia from Unstoppable, and actually pull us all together, because there are so many fabulous projects that are working on their own. And what would happen if they all connected? How much further could they go then?
Nice.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that, because one of my clients in our session, something came up for her about, I'd love to create an orphanage. And it's something she'd completely forgotten about from when she was young. And I went, wow, could really help her do that. Just she can do it on her own. But then I thought, who could she connect with so it could be more powerful? And then who else could they connect with so it could be more powerful? Because it feels like there needs to be exponential power in this. There are so many great projects, and they're all disconnected. What would happen if they connected? So there's something about connecting, and connecting world leaders to grassroots so that there's a synergy, more synergy.
Tell me, because I feel all this energy from you. Are you someone who, it's just what you do, you connect people?
Actually, I didn't think I did, but I do. Yeah. I hear other people say, oh, I connect people and I connect people. And then I thought, oh, I don't know if I connect people. And then I thought, actually, every day I'm connecting people. Oh, she does this, or she does that, or give them a call. Or, yeah. And I think that's really important. And no ego. You know, if somebody can do something better than me, then they can do it. And I help them do it. That is really important to me, that we get ourselves out of the way and say, it doesn't have to be my project. Although sometimes I've been so out of the way that I've given away my power and given the whole project to somebody thinking that they were all better. And it's like, now it's like, okay, what if everyone was in their power, and how much further forward could it go, including me? It's taken me a while to get to including me.
Well, often our biggest gift is an area we struggle with the most. So that you're so about empowering young women wouldn't surprise me. There's places where you forget how powerful you are.
Yes, it's something I realize I've just admitted in a podcast. But yeah, so it's slightly sensitive.
Well, look. One of the ways you're going to inspire these young girls is to let them know they're not alone, and that even you, at almost 50 years of age, having accomplished all sorts of amazing things, still struggle with that. That's actually going to help them.
And that's it, right? That's part of the conversation. We don't go in with superiority. We go in with the same problems, but different skills. So how do we pitch these skills together? And what can we do when we put that together? How far, just what can we create then? And this world's, I'm not going to go too far into it, isn't run the way I think it should be run. There is too much disempowerment of too many people all over the place, not just in the developing countries, everywhere, in businesses and everything. So what would happen if we gave more people back their power?
So let me tell you a story.
Okay.
7 or 8 years ago, I was talking to my coach about what's my big mission in the world. And I came out with something that I realized I would love to accomplish this, but it felt overwhelmingly big, so big that I was embarrassed to share it with the world, kept it to myself. And then gradually, one at a time, I mentioned it to a client and they'd say, well, that sounds great. And mentioned to somebody else. And then I began to share it. And the mission that I'm on is I'm mobilizing $100 million to educate 1 million children. I have a passion for education. And I know the difference it would make to have a million children educated who didn't have access to education. I was clear I wasn't fundraising. I was mobilizing $100 million. The way that I best do, through connecting to fascinating people and coaching fascinating people. I began speaking that mission out into the world, and then really interesting things began to happen, because the universe comes back to meet you in a really good way when you're willing to step into your power. And one of my clients right now is literally on her own raising $100 million to change the future of work. I have another client who's raising millions to build schools for children who think differently. He was born with ADHD and dyslexia, and kids laughed at him and teachers didn't understand him when he grew up. But he knows that was an asset when he became an entrepreneur, because he thinks differently. He wants to help kids who think differently. And I see already how close that's coming. And then I sat down at a dinner party a year or two ago with somebody, and she said, what are you up to, Rich? What do you do? And I said, well, it's funny. What I'm doing right now is I'm mobilizing $100 million to educate 1 million children. I've discovered that sometimes when you speak your mission out into the world, all sorts of interesting things happen. But her response was priceless, Angela, because she said, oh, that's lovely, Rich. We did that last year. It was like I'd said, I'm going to go and see the new Terminator movie. And she went, oh, we saw that last week. It was that level of energy. And it reminds me of these things that we think are impossible. There are all sorts of people accomplishing extraordinary things.
That gives me hope. I still think, how am I going to do it? And then I think, well, hang on, that makes this is not how I work with my clients, right? So notice how I work with my clients is not what I do with myself sometimes. And it's like, it's not I, it's we. And there are heaps of people around there we do it together as well. So it's like, it's not all about you sit in your little corner and have to struggle at something. It's like you're saying, yeah, when you speak it out there are people who are interested, who want to be part of it. There are a lot of people that want to do things to help.
And that's the magic you bring to this. It's not just about ensuring that 100% of girls are able to access education at some moment in the future. It's not that you're doing this on your own. It's that you know how to bring people together in all sorts of ways. It's sometimes in ways that you don't even need to be part of it. Sometimes in ways that actually you need to own your power and stay part of it. But it's that extra mix of bringing these people together that you know how to do and you've always done is part of this story that's going to educate these girls.
And that's part of also giving even Western women back their power, or getting them to reconnect with it. It's such an important part of what I believe, and including with my 2 daughters. So they're powerful. They're pretty amazing. Yeah. So there's a lot of research to do now.
Well, the question that you went to, which was, I don't know how to, the how-to question never worries me. If I said, how do you run a 180-kilometer race? There's only one answer to that question. One step at a time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And all the way through, it's one step at a time. Yeah. All through the ups and downs, it's still one step at a time.
And in the training, will you get injured? Possibly, probably. How do you handle that? You handle it one tiny step at a time, doing what needs to be done to take care of your body. And then you get back into the race. And that's how you play this game. We don't need to know how now. There'll come a moment in time when you'll look back and go, oh, I'll tell you how we did it.
I think I just visibly, I know I just relaxed. I think that's it. It's been like, how. Yeah. Yeah.
So that moment when you went, and you visibly relaxed and you felt that in your body, that's the insight moment. And that's the moment when I can take you off the hot seat and we're good to go. We don't need to turn this into a 17-step plan to work out what needs to be done next. Sit with this. Sit with the energy. And at some point you'll say, well, what's my first tiny step? Oh, I want to read Cynthia Kersey's book. I want to have a birthday party where I tell people we're creating for this cause. I'm going to think about which 2 interesting people do I want to connect. You'll know, and you'll take that one tiny step, and then you'll pause and check in, work out what the next tiny step is. I help people do amazing things by dreaming. I help them to dream bigger than they've ever dreamed, and then I help them counterintuitively to take tinier steps than they've ever taken. That's the only way you make amazing things happen.
I think that's it. I want to take big steps to the big dream. And so that's what's been happening. So I want it to go faster. I want it to be now, and I want it to be bigger. And I don't want the impact to be in 25 years. I want it to be next year. And I want this to happen. Like, I feel a sense of urgency. So it's, what do you say? Slow down to speed up, right? Yeah. That's what you say. Yeah.
And look, it's not slow down to lie down. It's slow down to speed up. Extraordinary things happen when you take tiny steps. So in this moment, let me ask you, once we've finished today or over the weekend, what's the first tiny step you're going to take? And by the way, let me help you check in on this one. It could be, you know what? The next tiny step I'm going to take is going to go have fun with my daughters. Or it might be the next tiny step I'm going to take is, I need a massage so I can just relax and get out of my head on this one. Or I want to go for a 20-minute run.
Yeah.
It can be as simple as that.
Yeah. It'll be that. It's I was just thinking, I didn't do my training today because I was busy working and on this, and it wasn't great weather. So I thought, and I realized that that's when I'm out of integrity and with myself in a way, without judging, but still, it's like my body needs that run because that's when I get my best ideas as well. Yeah. So So tomorrow so it's going to be actually sleeping in and not getting up to get, because it's the evening here in France. So it'll be having a proper night's sleep. I'll probably not be able to stop myself from going on and finding Cynthia on the internet as soon as I get off here, Googling her.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. Enjoy the run. Thanks for playing, Angela.
Thanks, Rich.
For most of human history, it wasn't called coaching, it was called leadership. And it's what I love to do, to coach people, to lead people, and to mess with people's thinking. If you'd like more of this, or if you'd like to learn more about our community of extraordinary top performers, go to richlitvin.com/oneinsight.